Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive right into something that is honestly incredibly powerful. But before we get deep into it, I want to ask you, yes, you, watching right now, a really straightforward question. Just take a second and think about it. When was the absolute last time you really wanted to do something? Maybe you wanted to speak up in a meeting, or make a tough decision, or just try something completely out of your comfort zone, and you didn't do it. You just stopped yourself dead in your tracks. Chances are you stopped because a little voice inside your head whispered something exactly like this. Don't do it. What if something goes wrong? What will people think? You're not ready yet. I mean, do you recognize that voice? Because trust me, we all hear it. But today we're going to unpack what that voice actually is. Section 1. That inner voice. So that inner voice you keep hearing, it actually isn't a lack of confidence at all. It's not a personal flaw, and it is definitely not a sign of weakness. What that voice actually is conditioning. It's just a deeply ingrained, repeated pattern that kind of wormed its way into your brain at a really young age. And since then, it's just sat there. So every single time you try to do something big or step out of your comfort zone, boom, that old conditioning surfaces. Section 2. The real meaning of confidence. Okay, so if that pesky voice isn't a lack of confidence, what actually is confidence? Let's completely dismantle some myths here. First off, let's get one thing straight. Confidence is not some sudden, magical feeling that just arrives one day out of nowhere. It's not an innate gift that only a lucky few are born with, and it is absolutely not a trait reserved exclusively for loud, bold extroverts. The reality? Confidence is a built skill, period. It comes from practice, from failing, and from repeatedly putting yourself in really uncomfortable situations. People who look super confident, they aren't fearless. No way. They've just trained this specific skill. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here, and I really want you to let this sink in, is that confidence is doing the work despite the fear. It is not the absence of fear. It's taking action even while your hands are literally shaking. Honestly, this is the single most important reframe of our entire explainer today. Section 3. Isha's story. To really wrap our heads around how this works in the real world, let's look at Isha. She's a 26-year-old software engineer in Bengaluru. She has a great job, right? But she was hiding this massive secret struggle. She was completely silent in meetings. She would sit there with these brilliant ideas that were honestly way better than her teammates, but she physically could not voice them. It's like she was screaming on the inside, but completely mute on the outside. And she'd go home just intensely frustrated, asking herself over and over, why am I so weak? But if we actually look at her journey, we see it wasn't weakness at all. Back in childhood, Isha confidently answered a question in class, and her teacher publicly humiliated her for getting it wrong. Just like that, that single moment of trauma etched a permanent message into her brain. If I speak, I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, people will judge me. That one incident led to 15 years of silence. 15 years. But then, on day one of actively breaking that pattern, she committed to speaking just one single line in a meeting. Fast forward 6 months, it totally transformed her entire professional life. You know, this happens to so many of us. We internalize a hurtful message from the past, and we totally mistake it for our personality. We tell ourselves, well, I'm just shy. I'm reserved. I'm just not a confident person. But the actual reality, that isn't your personality at all. It's a protective shield. You've just kept that shield up ever since you were hurt, simply as a way to stay safe. So after 6 months of literally forcing herself to share just one small point per meeting, Isha's team lead pulls her aside and says, your ideas are very helpful. Share them more. Now, don't get me wrong, that external validation is fantastic, but the internal evidence Isha built, that was way more important. That old voice telling her to stay quiet, I mean, it hadn't completely vanished, but it shrunk big time because she had finally built undeniable evidence that she could speak up and she would survive. Section 4. Society and our conditioning. Now let's zoom out and see how this fits into a broader cultural context. Why is this struggle so incredibly common, especially for women in Indian society? Well, it all comes down to the specific societal messages fed to women at school, at home, basically everywhere. Stay humble. Don't speak too much. Don't be too direct. If you celebrate your achievements, you're a show-off. If you express your needs loudly, you're being selfish. And if you dare to make decisions confidently, you're arrogant. Over time, these messages just weave together to form this toxic belief that real, grounded confidence simply isn't a trait a woman is supposed to have. And let me be absolutely crystal clear about this. That belief is a lie.
And unfortunately, this lie is costing you dearly.
Because think about it, you don't just need confidence to speak up in a boardroom. You need confidence for your financial decisions. You need it to advance in your career. You need it to speak up in your personal relationships. You literally need it to validate your own needs and to build the life you actually want. Because the harsh truth is, if you lack confidence in these critical areas, someone else will always step in and make the decisions for your life.
Section 5. Steps to build confidence. So, how do we take back control? What exactly do you need to do to start building this skill today? Well, the source material lays out 2 very clear, practical steps. Step 1. Take one small, uncomfortable action today. And I mean small. It shouldn't feel catastrophic, just a micro action. Maybe it's making one point in a meeting, or just making a tiny decision without asking anyone for permission. Honestly, the result doesn't even matter. Taking the action is what matters. It sends a brand new message to your brain that you are safe and that you can survive it. Then, step 2, identify your previous conditioning. Try to pinpoint and name the exact moment from your past that told you confidence just wasn't for you.
And once you identify that moment of past trauma, I want you to step back and ask yourself, is this actually true? Or is this just the story that specific moment gave me? Because, more often than not, that story is completely false. It's just an interpretation made by a smaller, hurt version of you. It is absolutely not your present reality, so challenge it. Let's bring it all back to our core thesis here. Confidence is not found. It is built. And you can build it, starting with literally just one step today. Also, keep in mind that confidence isn't just a solo journey. It's something we build in a community. When one person decides to be bold, it kind of gives everyone else permission to do the exact same thing. So if there's someone in your life who really needs to hear this today, please share this explainer with them. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to kickstart your journey right now. What is the one specific area in your life where you want to be more confident? Really think about it, name it clearly, and drop your answer down in the comments below. Take that very first step today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.